Our next panel is on advocacy. So I know I've already talked to a few people in the audience, and they are like, what do I do? How do I get started? And as one of our panelists has already pointed out, today is a start, right? So if you've not been involved before, you're already on your way. You're here, you're getting informed, and now we're going to tell you what you can do next. So the first thing that I'm going to encourage you all to do is, if you don't already, keep an eye on our website. So it's hecweb.org, and every year we have a bill watch page. This is where we're going to update you about all of the bills that are coming up in the State House, so you can keep an eye on those and get an idea of what's going on in the legislature. And we'll keep you up to date on when bills are moving and who you can contact. All those of you in the back, you are going to miss out on some great info. You should really head this way. I love you all. Come on. Okay, continuing on. We have some great social media sites. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube. If you want to throw out some other ones, if we don't have it, I will get it if you want it. Anything to keep you informed and educated. So if you don't already follow us on these sites, please do so. Take a picture of the screen if you must, or go to our website and we link to them there as well. All right, now's where we get into the nitty-gritty, guys. You need to engage your elected officials, and we really mean that. So if you reach out to your legislators, your state senator, your state representative, I guarantee you, you will get a response, first off, and they do listen. Marianne and I were talking about this earlier. When they are on the floor, they will talk about what their constituents are calling them about. So it takes literally 2 minutes to pick up a phone and make a phone call. If you do not know who your legislators are, you can find it at iga.in.gov/legislative/find-legislators. And again, I don't know if you all can see it so well in the back, but you can find that information on our website as well. Or you can email me with any questions you have. I will put my email up here later, and I would be happy to inform you as to how to do all of this. By the way, while I'm talking and our panelists are talking, be sure to be writing questions if you have any. It's a really short panel session, so we have very limited time. Okay, so some ways to engage legislators and make a bigger impact are to attend third house meetings. Almost all legislators have them. That is where they hold meetings in their own home district, so that you can engage with them in your hometown, or at least in your home region. Go, take notes, and ask questions about environmental issues that concern you, and make them be accountable. Meet your legislators in person, either in their hometown or in the State House. We would love to help you figure out how to do that if you do not know, but you can just call your legislator's office and make an appointment, and they will sit down with you. And then finally, you could send a personalized email to your legislator, as well as making phone calls. Those are also very important things. Meeting them in person is the best thing you can do. Making a phone call is probably second, and then a letter or email would be third. Okay, another thing you can do, as one of our panelists up here has done, is host a Greening Your Community house party. So we know that not everyone can make it to GTS, although this year, the biggest crowd we've ever had, so kudos to all of you for coming out. But we know not everyone can. Yeah, give yourselves a hand. Seriously, it's awesome. We host these parties all across the state, so if you want to host one, contact me. I will help make it happen. We love for people to host them themselves, but if you need a staff member there to assist you, if you don't feel comfortable, we will try and make that work for you, or we'll send out an HEC environmental advocate volunteer, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, to assist you as well. So you can have it anywhere, at your home, at a restaurant, at a church, at a recreational hall, anywhere, even a bar if you feel like you need some drinks. And in the next 4 years, we might, right? I mean, I don't know. So our goal is to develop a statewide network of environmental advocates to tap throughout the year, because we need everyone involved all the time. All right, So this is my big call out. Over the last year, we have started this HEC Environmental Advocate Program. I call it my baby. And I am trying desperately to get volunteers from all across the state so that we have people in every legislative district that are involved in actually taking action with the Hoosier Environmental Council. So this is your opportunity to be engaged and in the know all the time, to be an active part of making real progress on legislative issues. You get to represent us at events across the state, and I know Randi might talk a little bit about that. You get to work with an amazing team. I have the best coworkers in the entire world. I can't even tell you guys, and more. We do hold trainings every month, the second Wednesday of every month. I believe the next one is December 14th. I meant to check before I started talking, but if it's the second Wednesday, that's when it is. So email me at asheppherd@hecweb.org. It's up here. I also have business cards that I would be glad to hand you. There are some also on our Mounds Greenway /HEC table. So please let me know if you are interested in getting involved. So we do have 3 panelists today. One, I have them, they're not sitting in the exact right order, but you know, whatever. Randi Caldwell is in the middle. She is one of our volunteers, our HEC Environmental Advocate Extraordinaire. I'll let her tell you what she does. Then we have Faith Van Gilder, which is the furthest from me. She is also an HEC supporter and a volunteer with many organizations. And then we also have Holly Jones, who is the Executive Director of Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light. So we're going to start with Randi and let her talk about her work with HEC.
Thank you. All right. Hi, I'm Randi Caldwell, and thank you, Amanda and HEC, for allowing me this opportunity to talk about what I've done in my involvement with the Hoosier Environmental Council. I'm just nobody fancy. I'm just a regular working mother who really wanted to get more involved and educate myself on the legislative process in Indiana, and started Googling, how do I get involved? And that's how I learned about HEC. And sent Amanda a note, and then the rest was history. So it's been about a year now that I have been working and volunteering with Hoosier Environmental Council, and primarily what I've done is been phone banking, and then also working at different events across the state of Indiana. So with phone banking, the majority of what I've spoken to fellow Hoosiers about is the House Bill 1082. I was able to speak to Hoosiers all across the state and listen to their concerns, hear their enthusiasm to want to contact their legislators and urge them to make a change and to vote and to oppose that bill. Another thing that I've been able to do is, like I said, work booths across the state and hear their concerns as well, and hear what people are doing in their personal lives to make a difference to help the environment and the future of our planet and for our children. It's been a great opportunity for me. It encourages me and allows me to know that there are other people like us that are fighting for the environment and fighting for our children's future. So when I've lost all hope, like I have for the past week, I just remember back when I've been speaking to you guys and hearing your voices and your concerns, and know that there is a bright future, and we just have to continue to fight the good fight. So I would encourage all of you who are interested in getting more involved in the process to contact Amanda. It has been wonderful, and I just can't wait to continue fighting through the next legislative process and next year. So thank you. I don't have very much to say, but thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see such a lovely big crowd here on such a cold Indiana day. My name's Faith Van Gilder, and I live north of Fort Wayne, about 15 miles north, in a little town called Huntertown, out in the woods on the banks of Cedar Creek. So I'm going to talk about engaging the wider public in advocacy work, and I'm going to concentrate mostly on that work that I've done for the past 20 years as a member of this little grassroots group, Friends of Cedar Creek, and I have a couple of my fellow board members here today, actually, in the audience. And also, on a state level, my husband David, who's an HEC board member, and I are advocacy coordinators for the state of Indiana for the Peace Corps, for the National Peace Corps Association. We were lucky enough to be volunteers in Botswana, Africa in the 80s, and since then have advocated on a national level for robust funding for the Peace Corps. And as advocacy coordinators in Indiana for about the past year, we've had a chance to network with other volunteers, return volunteers in Indiana, and go to DC and also in the home offices of our state senators and our local congressmen. So kind of from the very grassroots to actually the halls of Congress. And Randi mentioned in the last week, we're kind of up in the air about the future of the Peace Corps too. You know, it's under the umbrella of foreign relations and anything could happen. But engaging the wider public, Amanda wanted me to say just a few words about that. And it's basically, I look at it as coming at this from several different fronts. I was a journalist for about 20 years at the News Sentinel in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and 5 years ago actually switched over to a PR and marketing firm. So I've been on both sides, and I know that the traditional media is always looking for content. So if you or your friends would write a letter to the editor or a guest column, they would love to run something like that. And that is a good way to reach the fewer people, but there are still some who read newspapers. And then social media, and there are a lot of millennials in the room, and I don't have to tell you how easy and important and crucial that is also to harness the power of social media. Whether it's on Facebook or Twitter, you get a little bit more room to talk on Facebook. And then the third thing would be just your personal connections. Don't underestimate the power of a phone call or a one-on-one meeting with a friend, a like-minded friend, and always be on the lookout for people who have a certain skill or talent that you can connect with the bigger mission, whatever it is, the environment, world peace, whatever. Thank you.
Taking my slides? Okay. Well, I have a couple slides, so, oh, nice. Okay, I'm gonna let this say 1,000 words because I don't have a lot of time either. I wanna bank on what all three of these incredible, intelligent women were talking about. Your connection, your story, your team, your circles, the opportunity, the moment we have in history where more small, disenfranchised communities, people have individual voices through social media and those networks more than they ever have. Now, that's not always a good thing, but there's a lot of talent in this team that I would love to call you all my team in this room. So that said, changing the narrative, one thing my board just focused on, came up over and over. Let's change this story. This is Indiana. We got 10,000 congregations. You got to start thinking big and laying down the tracks. By the way, this is what solar looks like. This is what renewable energy looks like. This is Maryville, Indiana. And these are awesome people getting through the hurdles. So pictures and telling your story, engaging, if you can at all possible, engage somebody at the administrative level in your state or above. This is a crazy story. I don't have time to tell you, but yeah, take me out for one of those drinks, Amanda, and or coffee. But the point is, this is the director of our DNR, controls that budget, sort of. And that's a pretty important person in our state, but it was a weird thing. A volunteer helped us get anyway, I had volunteers set up, and we basically landed on a school, well, not a school, but the grounds on Arbor Day. Last minute, stay with the changes, barriers, problems are always there. This day, the problem was the volunteer called and said, oh, we can only fit 2 people because it's the European luxury helicopter we have that morning to fly you out to the winter. So I had to be Smokies. So believe it or not, I'm in there. But the point, right, I was gonna wear this, right? But anyway, the point is, be balanced, go with the flow, get over the hurdles. If you ask people in this room, we have tons of differences, but if you focus on the good things, keep your eyes open, you know, like surfing, stay balanced, be ready for change, and get over those hurdles together. Get good things. Speaking of good things, this is my team. We are down at the State House. I love the idea of us working together. I am happy to link out people that say, wow, Holly, how do I don't have time to train everybody, but I can send them. I can make sure Amanda's workshops get full. And that's about us working together. So these are just some of our stories and ways that you can connect. Use everything you have. Engage people. It takes a lot of time. We're here to change the story together. If you look back 200 years ago, Indiana's story, if you looked at the landscape, it's different today, isn't it? Well, guess who did that? People. And we can do it again. So that's your pep talk. Get out there and do great things.
Oh, Amanda.
So I have to be honest, it didn't hit me until just now that we have a panel of women up here. So just noting that.
Yes.
Before we do questions, which I'm hoping that you all have, and we'll have runners going around to get those, I'm going to share a personal story with you. And those of you who are my Facebook friends may recognize this story. So earlier this week, and I promise there's a reason I'm telling you this. Earlier this week, I was driving to take my daughter her dance shoes because she forgot them at home. And I was driving down a very busy street in Indianapolis, and traffic was stopped. I'll try and keep this as short as possible. And after sitting there for a minute, I'm like, well, what's going on? And I see a little creature running down the side of the road. And I'm like, oh, someone's lost their dog. And I get a little further, and actually, it's a pig, a little piglet. Running down the streets of Indianapolis. So I am looking around, and no one is chasing after this pig. So I decide that I'm the savior of this pig, right? So I jump out of my car. Very briefly, I'll tell you, I was wearing a dress and heels and a trench coat and a big floppy hat. So I'm running frantically down the side of the road trying to catch this pig for a very long time. Keystone Avenue is a really busy road, and I am trying to stop traffic as the pig is like running away from me and across traffic, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing more harm than good here trying to chase this pig, but I have to save this pig. Anyway, I eventually chased it into a quieter neighborhood, and this whole time I'd been chasing it by myself. I mean, a couple people were working construction, and they kind of tried to catch it as it went by, but they didn't really help that much. So finally, when I got into this quiet neighborhood, two people had followed me in their vehicles and finally got out to help me chase this pig. Guy went back to get food and to try and capture it. Anyway, long story short, after 35 minutes of me trying to chase this pig, I was not successful. And I had to leave because I was late for a meeting that had to do with GTS, actually. But the reason I tell you this story is I've been doing a lot of reflecting with the help of some friends this week. And this pig has really caused me to do a lot of reflection. And the moral of this story that I'm taking away so far is that we must keep running. That pig eluded my grasp at every turn. No matter what I did, I could not catch him. But I refused to stop. And eventually, I had others stop to help me. So even if you never reach your goal, even if you don't save the pig, you will inspire others to join you and help you. So keep doing this good work. Or perhaps start doing even more than you already are. Because your work creates ripples, and those ripples may eventually create waves that cause a huge coalescence of change. So I would encourage you to always chase the pig, in whatever form that takes, and really take action whenever possible. So we're going to do a really quick action right now. I want everyone to get out your phones. You have my permission, students. Take out your phones. As a former teacher, I'm telling you now. Take out your phones. If you are on Twitter, please log in. Those of you that aren't, I'm sorry, maybe jot this down and do it later and log on so that you can join us in these things later. I'm going to give you guys just a minute to log in. Okay, and what I want you to tweet is this. Because Melissa talked about the need for clean water. And that's an issue that we can all get behind. Doesn't matter what party you are. It doesn't matter who you are or where you live. Everyone wants clean water. No one wants to drink dirty water. So send out this tweet, #CleanWaterStrong @IDEM News, And just so you know, that's the Indiana Department of Environmental Management's handle. That's why we're tweeting at them. Hashtag INLegis. And this should, hopefully, if we have like 500 tweets going out, capture the attention of legislators and news media to let them know that we are all watching in the upcoming session. And we are going to stand for what we believe in. Now for me, it's not just clean water, and I know it's not just for you either, but this is just the start, right? This is our ripple. This is our one ripple, is what we're doing right here today. So please do that, if you could. Does anybody need me to leave it up for any longer? Yes. No. Hashtag clean water, new word strong, at IDEM News. Do you like my gestures while I'm doing it? Hashtag INLegis. Sorry, yeah, it's not very clear. I should have made it much bigger. This was maybe thrown together at the last minute? That's the way great advocacy works, right? Okay, so I'll say it one more time. Hashtag clean water, new word strong, at IDEM News, space, hashtag INLEGIS. No, hashtag, it's at, no, that's not a handle, it's a hashtag. Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, great. So, oh gosh, I guess we don't have a lot of time for questions, but if we had any questions at all, I'd be more than happy to pass along just a couple. We will do it very, very quickly. And please email me if your question is not answered.
Question, but can you mention these two action items during session 2, Transit Day and Forest Rally?
Oh, yes. Okay, so first off, I'm supposed to mention that Transit Day at the State House is February 21st. That's a Tuesday. So please try and turn out for Transit Day, February 21st. And then we also have a rally for the forests. Yeah, from our friends at the Indiana Forest Alliance. They are having a rally on Monday, February 20th at 11 a.m. I'm getting there, at the Indiana State House. Sorry, both of these are at the Indiana State House, okay? All right, so those are two items. Okay, and then we have one quick question for Holly. What does Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light do?
Wow, great question. Everything. We are trying to empower green teams and congregations to learn the nuances of renewable energy, to teach it, to preach it, to live it, and to inspire others to transform Indiana. That's not so big, is it?
That's just a small thing, you know. Okay, so I know I'm running out of time, so I am so sorry. If you asked a question, we will get to it. We're going to do like a little separate feed later this week, and we will answer all questions that we possibly can on that feed from all panels, just an FYI. But I do want to answer this one. It asks, what takes place at the Wednesday night meetings and what time? So the Wednesday night meetings are our environmental advocacy trainings. And during that time, not only do I provide an overview of what HEC does, so for those of you who maybe aren't as familiar with all of the work that we do, we give you an idea of what that is. We also go over some more details about the kinds of ways you can get involved and let you give us feedback on what you're most interested in. Every training is a little different though, because we have different things that are happening all the time. So sometimes we might focus on a transit issue and maybe trying to turn people out for phone banking. I mean, that might have happened recently. So basically there's a whole bunch of different things that can happen. They are at 7 o'clock and it's to be determined on the location because I'm hoping it will be too big for the office. So follow us on Facebook. We also have a Facebook page, HEC Environmental Advocates. You can follow us there. Okay,